back again, my friend. Let's get into the science. Do our mathematics. Let's go ahead and hook everybody up. Calm a little something. A little bit more. Okay. Nigga, all right. I gotta beat myself. Shout out to Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. And you in there just like that. You know. Alright. I got some passages pulled for me to study today. And I think we're gonna get right to it. The first joint I'm gonna deal with is this bad boy. Middle Pillar by Regarde. And then got some other people did some annotations and edited and said new material. Chick Cicero and Sandra Tabitha Cicero. But Regarde is the thing, and this is called Middle Pillar. The balance between mind and magic. So let's see here. Alright, this is right at the beginning of the book. I'm not going to read all of that part at the beginning. I'm kind of jump in right around here. This is page 4 and page 5. And this is out of the first chapter, 2 Pillars of the Temple. Alright. Let's see, I'm going to kind of jump in because the part I want is in between the 2 pages. Let's see. It would be totally absurd for anyone to minimize all that has been achieved by modern psychology, due to the efforts of such astute investigators as Freud and Jung. But it is abundantly clear that their protagonists, psychological extremists, go entirely too far in disclaiming the intelligence and insight of our predecessors. For the facts are, as but little research indicates, that so far from being ignorant of analytical psychology, the ancients, and particularly those of the East and Hither East, have evolved a highly complex and elaborate scheme not only of analysis, but also of spiritual development and synthesis. All right, here we go. Some Orthodox diehards may question the relationship of modern psychology with discredited Oriental and archaic techniques for the unfolding of man's higher or spiritual nature. In practice, however, such a relationship does indubitably exist. It is a fact of clinical and consulting room experience, for during the course of a protracted analysis, the cruder and more superficial unconscious levels having been uncovered and moral conflicts resolved, symbols and theme motifs of a religious or spiritual nature do make their entry across the threshold of consciousness. This entry is by way of dream, intuition, and by direct apprehension. Not only is this so, but they exert a potent influence on the entire personality, producing integrity, a new and more equilibrated, equilibrated attitude towards life, and a unification of various strata of consciousness, which collectively we call man. What modern psychology has quite possibly accomplished is an advance over the efforts of our predecessors in the way of cathartic technique. Moreover, because of modern devices, the methods of analytical psychology have been brought nearer to the understanding and convenience of the ordinary man of the street. Y'all niggas, my niggas. In the past, techniques of attainment, mysticism, magic, and yoga, or by whatever name such systems were denoted, were always several removes from the ken of the average individual. The psychologies of the past may be summarized by the use of the words yoga and magic. The subject of yoga has already been excellently dealt with by several able and competent writers, requiring therefore but little mention here. Such a book as Yoga in Western Psychology by Geraldine Coaster must certainly take its place historically as a genuine and first-rate contribution to the progress of analytical psychology. There is also the contemplation of the Buddhist Lodge Concentration and Meditation, a handbook on that subject of great merit. A number of modern psychologists have also examined the subject of yoga and meditation as a whole, and have found much that is sympathetic to and explanatory of their own systems. And furthermore, the mystical systems posit a goal and a general schema which expand the rather hazy and indeterminate character of a very large part of our psychotherapeutic systems. All right. Analytical psychology and magic comprise, in my estimation, two halves or aspects of a single technical system, just as the body and mind are not two separate units, but they are simply the dual manifestations of an interior dynamic, something. So, psychology and magic comprise similarly a single system whose goal is the integration of, of the human personality. Bingo. That's what we're doing here. That's what's going on right there. Let me hit that again. Just as the body and mind are not two separate units, but are simply the dual manifestations of an interior dynamic something, so psychology and magic comprise similarly a single system whose goal is the integration of the human personality. Its aim is to unify the different departments and functions of man's being, to bring into operation those which previously, for various reasons, were latent. We cooking now. Incidentally, its technique is such that neurotic symptoms which were too insistent upon expression either become eliminated or toned down by the process of equilibration. Yeah, they touched on that neurotic symptoms. That's that neurosis. When that subconscious mind is pent down, man, and it's like you in your own way, man. That energy gonna come out some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Enough to make a go crazy. You know what I mean? Shit like that. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. This is Florine Lowndes. Florine Lowndes. Enlivening the heart chakra. Hold up, I forgot. Okay. Let me get my shit together on this one. Let me get it close. Niggas should see this. Please see it. Florine Lowndes. Enlivening the heart chakra. I think I found something in here. I've got some notes. Let me see which one was supposed to go first. Okay. This is good. It has a good visual. See that right there? Let me see. Hook y'all up. It says, in me is God. Yellow point, blue circle. It says, the other one says, I am in God. Blue point, yellow circle. So the top one is saying that the point is yellow, and so where it's black, that would be yellow, and the white part, that would be blue. Other one is saying it's a blue dot, and that would be yellow on the outside. If you go inside of the blue point, you're gonna find yellow again, and then you go inside of that blue point, you're gonna find blue again, and yellow and blue and yellow and blue and yellow and blue, like a fractal. See that? So that's like the two parts of your brain, the two sides of your brain. You're trying to bring them together. That's what the middle pillar is dealing with, synthesizing the energies. Or you could go conscious mind, subconscious mind, trying to get them to have a situation. They already do it, you already do it, but you're trying to work it out to make the relationship better, so they flow better. Because the conscious mind is like, I want da 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 da. The subconscious mind is like the operator. They taking care of everything. You know what I mean? So when the conscious mind don't get what it want, it's gonna get frustrated. That energy gonna go back to the subconscious mind, and then you're gonna have all this type of shit going on. The goal is to be in harmony with yourself. That's, or that's what I'm trying to do. Let me speak for myself, because again, this is a study, and I'm sharing. You can actually do whatever the hell you want to do. And I would do you a disservice. I would be doing you a disservice if I was to sit up here in front of this damn web camera and tell you what to do. So let's not get that twisted. All right. This is page 162, Enlivening the Heart Chakra. In general, people fail to achieve anything in the realm of pedagogy. Hold the fuck up. We got to look that shit the fuck up, because he hit me with some shit. I ain't seen a fucking word looking like that before. Let me pause for the cause. But that's what happened when you study, and you gotta stop and see what's going on. What the fuck is this word? Pedagogy. All right. Pedagogy, most commonly understood as the approach to teaching, refers to the theory of practice of learning and how this process influences and is influenced by the social, political, and psychological development of learners. Most commonly understood. Okay, so it's the approach of teaching and how learning processes, how it's affected in learning processes, and how people learn, they individuals learn, because that could be different for everybody. All right, so in general, people fail to achieve anything in the realm of, we could just replace it with learning. In general, people fail to achieve anything in the realm of learning because they never manage to awaken a certain truth in themselves. They treat it seriously enough. To do justice to this truth, they would need to immerse themselves in the evening in this consciousness. In me is God. God, or the Spirit of God, or whatever you like to call it, is in me. But not just chatter theoretically. For most people's meditations are simply theoretical chatter and bibble babble. And in the morning, so that it streams out and invigorates the whole coming day, one should think, I am God. Just think for a moment what you are really doing when you waken these two concepts, which also become fully imbued with feeling, yes, also become impulses of will. What you are doing is to place before you this image. In me is God. And then in the following morning, to have before you the image, I am in God. Both are one and the same. Both drawings, see figure 31. That's the figure I just showed you, so you already done seen it. And what you must understand is that in both cases, we have a circle and a point, but that this does not emerge in the evening, only in the morning. In the morning, you must think. There is a circle, there is a point. You must understand that the circle can be a point and a point a circle. I just gave y'all that. You must understand this deeply, inwardly. Shout out to Florine, giving you the game right there. Moving right along. I think this is one of Bobby's joints right here. Oh, look. This is the same thing I was just talking. This is the same thing we were just talking about in Florine joint. This is I gotta be easy with this one. This one, this shit old. Glue coming out. I think I'm about to lose the damn tape. The table of contents jumping out. Everything else intact. I gotta watch how wide I spread this joint. This is one of Bobby's classics. This book, this is serious. This is a serious book right here. This is some serious shit in here. This is Enochian Physics. Let me go. Yeah, Enochian Physics by Gerald Schueler. Bobby always Bobby threw up a lot of Schueler books. This is the structure of the magical universe. Enochian Physics. Gerald J. Schueler. And I got mad notes on it. Alright, but the joint we was just talking about right here. See that Vesica Pisces, son? See that? See the pussy in the middle? Right there. Let me get to the middle. Right there. Come on up. Go over. There you go. Right there. That's the vagina, niggers. Right there. You know what I'm saying? So, the two sides of your mind. Hold on. Shit. Two sides of your mind. Yeah, I do better going under. Two sides of your mind, right? You trying to merge them shits. Get them to work together. Get them to communicate. But you gotta learn how they communicate and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You can't. You're not gonna beat one or the other. It's a package deal. It's both. So you got to get them to rock together the right way, and then you can start manifesting your reality. And he goes into it too. The other half of the monad is not I. The not I is the world in which the I finds itself. The I says, I'm this, and proceeds to define itself accordingly. Or you can replace that with, I am God, and proceeds to define itself accordingly. All that does not fall into its self-definition becomes the not I. The poetical terms of not I is referred to as the goddess Nut. The not I of one monad is not the not I of another, but overlapping does occur. And it is through the act of overlapping not I's that communication is made possible. See figure 16. Just showed it. Y'all just synced it. Shows the overlapping of two monads A and B. The shaded area overlaps in the intersection of A and B. It is the area where mutual definition is possible. It is the area where the formulation of a plane, subplane, or world is possible. As shown in figure 17, we can calculate the probability of any world being created in time and space as, and then they hit your ass with some scientific formula, where I is a large but infinite number of overlapping not I's. In other words, this says that the probability of forming any subplane or world is equal to the probability of overlapping not I's in that particular region of space-time. The interactive force of energy field that exists between any I and its not I is called Fohat. Its feminine aspect is called Kundalini. Kundalini. I wasn't even going to read that one. I was just going to show the picture. But it all lines up. All right, where was I at? It's alchemy. This is alchemy, tools, magic, metal pill. Okay. Let's keep it going. All right. This is page 332. The Great Work. The Great Work is the name given to the ultimate goal of the magician. Know that our beginning is in God and our end in God. Wherefore, this is the great work, to attain unto the Godhead. The cosmic element model of Enochian monad model both show man as rooted in divinity. At the core of every person is a spark of divinity. This divine core expresses itself as the I not I monad. The great work of the magician is to realize the divine spark within him or herself. The exaltation of the divine breath is the outflowing of manifestation into time, space, and form. The duality of space-time and consciousness. During the arc of descent, it is the duty of the magician to clothe him or herself in form and to express him or herself in matter. However, the earth has now entered the arc of ascent. We on the rise, niggas. Matter is now slowly turning into its spiritual essence. The inner spirit of all things is slowly unfolding itself. The task of today's magician is to unfold the divinity within him or herself. This task is called the great work because it is the ultimate goal of the magician, all else being secondary. I can hear Bobby saying very key, very key. This inner divinity is also called the holy guardian angel. The magician must shift his consciousness inward toward the I, not I monad, which is his essential being. As he progresses, he will confront his own holy guardian angel and converse with him. This knowledge and conversation with the holy guardian angel is a major milestone in the great work. It takes place in the eighth year, ZID. Meeting the holy guardian angel is similar to matter confronting antimatter. The higher ethers contain a unification of the magician and his angel. The actual union is effected and Lil, the highest aether. Such a union leads to the annihilation of all the lower manifestations of the I not I monad, with a corresponding release of spiritual energy. Once again, my friend, it's your boy Gerald Schueler. Like I said, this book, this is heavy duty stuff. This book, man, the table of, hold on, I give y'all a, this book got some shit in it. You can get into some things. Two represents the elements, diagram of cosmic elements. The four great watchtowers, pentagram of Enochian magic, reverse pentagram showing the cosmic elements, the divine breath. John Dee's hieroglyphic monad, basic model of the system, cosmic planes and elements, model of three-dimensional reference frames. People as, man, he get on cosmic plane air, cosmic plane of water, cosmic plane of spirit, tablet of union, unification of four forces, edge-on view of the Milky Way galaxy, kinetic energy model. Like, this is heavy. This is, if you're a scientist, this is some heavy shit right here. This is some shit you need to cop. All right, and then we got a classic right here. Y'all probably, if you probably got this already. Some of y'all may got this already. Ego and Archetype, the one by Edinger. Another one recommended by damn near all, our teachers, our master teachers. Some of y'all who have taken like psychology in school and shit, y'all probably got this shit or some shit. I don't know. It's pretty well known. Ego and Archetype, Edward F. Edinger. This is coming from page 100, page 101. Encounter with the Self. All right. Modern man urgently needs to reestablish meaningful contact with the primitive layer of the psyche. I do not mean this the compulsive expression of unconscious primitive effects, which is a symptom of disassociation. I mean rather the primitive mode of experience that sees life as an organic whole. In dreams, the image of an animal, a primitive, or a child is commonly a symbolic expression for the source of help and healing. Often in fairy tales, it is an animal that shows the hero a way out of the difficulty. Man, that just made me think about some shit. The images of the primitive and the child serve a healing function because they symbolize our birthright to wholeness, that original state in which we are in rapport with nature and its transpersonal energies which guide and support. It is through the child or primitive in ourselves that we make connections with the self and heal the state of alienation. In order to relate to the mentality of the child and primitive consciously, rather than unconsciously and inflatedly, we must learn how to incorporate primitive categories of experience into our worldview without denying or damaging our conscience. Scientific categories of space, time, and causality. We must learn how to apply primitive modes of experience psychologically to the inner world, rather than physically in relation to the outer world. To be primitive in our relation to the outer world is to be superstitious, but to be primitive in relation to the inner world of the psyche is to be wise. This is borderline starting to touch on some like chaos magic type shit. if you can catch the drifts. I'm gonna hit that again. Yeah, I'm gonna hit that one again. We must learn how to apply primitive modes of experience psychologically to the inner world rather than physically in relation to the outer world. To be primitive in our relation to the outer world is to be superstitious, but to be primitive in relation to your inner world of the psyche is to be wise. Jung achieved such an attitude of sophisticated prim, primi- primitivity, and that is why all who knew him could not fail to be impressed by his wisdom. Only a few days before his death, he was asked by an interviewer about his notion of God. He replied in these words: "To this day, God is a name by which I designate all things which cross my willful path violently and recklessly, all things which upset my subjective views, plans, and intentions, and change the course of my life for better or worse." The view Jung is here expressing is essentially a primitive view, albeit a conscious and sophisticated one. Jung is calling God what most people call chance or accident. He experiences apparently arbitrary happenings as meaningful rather than meaningless. This is precisely how the primitive experiences life. For the primitive, everything is saturated with psychic meaning and has hidden connections with transpersonal powers. I had to write something, y'all. The primitive, like the child, lives in a world that is continuously with himself. He is in rapport with the cosmos. The more one attempts to relate consciously to the depths of the psyche, the more he is led to the same attitude expressed by Jung, namely, that all the vicissitudes of the outer and inner life have a meaning and are expressions of transpersonal patterns and powers. Chance as a category of experience is a symptom of the alienated life. For the self-connected man, as for the child and the primitive, chance does not exist. Perhaps this is the meaning of Jesus saying, Yahshua magic, unless you turn and become like children, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Can't get in, son. Can't get in the club, son. Not with those on. Can't get in. Can't get in the club, son. Emerson expressed the same idea, namely that law lies behind all apparent chance. Here's his quotation. Here's I guess Emerson's quotation. The secret of the world is the tie between person and event. The soul contains the event that shall befall it. The event is the print of your form. Events grow on the same stem with persons. That's ill. That's ill right there. Let's hit it again. The secret of the world is the tie between person and event. The soul contains the event that shall befall it. The event is the print of your form. Events grow on the same stem with persons. That was some good stuff, Mr. Edinger. Good stuff, buddy. Moving right along. Before I gotta take these kids and get them something to eat or something. Or before they come down here and interrupt the flow. Let me keep rolling. All right, I'm going back. These last three is ones we covered. We covered some stuff out of. Once again, classic joint, Ancient Shiny Ones. Highly recommended by Panic and by Bobby, DJ Conway. If you on your shit, you probably already got one. If not, you need to get it. If you're dealing with the occult. Let's see. I'm going to go into chapter 4, Ritual and Magic. All right. This part right here. We got it prepped up. All right. All right. Everything used during ritual is a symbol of an energy that exists on another plane. Whether or not the magician properly connects with that specific energy and believes one can work magic depends on how well one understands its representative symbol that is used on this plane or world. Study of and meditation on ritual symbol is an important part of training. In order to bring through the energy of the gods or energy pools, the magician must set up a circuit of communication along which that power can flow. This is done by ritual use of symbols, ritual itself, visualization, and meditation. All right, you on point. To keep the incoming power from dissipating before being directed toward a particular goal, rituals are performed within a cast of consecrated imaginary circle. This provides a neutral energy area that will not siphon off or dissipate the incoming energy. I'm gonna be real, you don't even have to do that. You don't need the transmutation circles and all of that, and you really don't need all of that. If you're melanated, you don't need it. To further aid in this control and direction of power, the magician relies upon certain magical tools to help his subconscious mind do the task at hand. Let me read that again, because I had a situation with somebody in these tools. To further aid in this control of direction of power, the magician relies upon certain magical tools to help. Tools is only to help. Can't do it for you. It's just to help you. Help his subconscious mind do the task at hand. Whether ceremonial magic, pagan, or witch, most of the ritual tools are the same. Dagger, sword, wand, cup, or chalice, incense and burners, lamp, or candles. Shamanism uses different implements, but for the same results. So that's telling you right there. When they said all of this stuff, then you turn around and said shamanism uses different implements, but for the same results. That means that these things are interchangeable. So don't get stuck in literalness. You got to free up. Free up. My Rasta homeboys should say that. Free up. Free up, Haas. Free up. Free up. You saying get out your head. You too tight. Loosen up. Free up. Flow. Let it free. You thinking too much. Like, we used to train martial arts and shit. Like, free up, Haas. Free up. You thinking too hard. That's that shit. You in your own way. Where the fuck was I at? Okay, the shaman. Okay, boom. What's good, Marlo? What up, bro? Um, These three types of ritual systems will be discussed in depth in later chapters. Okay. Special dress, robes, or costumes is also worn explicitly for ritual as an influence on the mental participation of the magician. It's just to get you in the mood. That's not the whole thing, though. You know, it's just to get you in the mood. It's like you're going on a date. You're gonna bathe, shave, you know, get fresh, put on some smells, you know. But that's all to get things into the mood. When you sit down, it's still you and your mind. You're still gonna have to engage the person. It's still gonna come down to you. All of that other shit is ceremonial. You know? That helps set the tone, set the mood, set the vibes. And it's all good, but don't get hung up on the literalness. I can't stress that shit enough. Alright. To correctly contact the appropriate energy pool, the magician must use as many symbols as possible that represent a specific deity, power, or archetypal energy. Only by contacting his subconscious mind and getting it into practice in the ritual can a magician expect to produce positive results. Since the subconscious mind speaks only in symbols, only symbols can attract its attention and solicit its aid. For example, the magician will choose a color, incense, plant, stone, statue, or picture, or other tools to help the subconscious communication for a specific ritual. At the end of each ritual, the God form or archetype power is dismissed so it can manifest the desire called for during the ritual. This enables the magician to gain the manifestation for which the ritual was done, and also enables him to function again in the physical world. To continue holding the power after the ritual is completed would make it impossible for you to live a normal life. I kind of get the angle on what they're trying to describe. It makes sense to a degree, because when you deal with quantum and waves and shit like that, because basically, like, what is matter? Matter is like particles, but when it's particles, what does that mean? It means it's fucking microscopic. So it moves in waves. And when you collapse waves, now you got matter, because it's collapsed waves. You know what I'm saying? So when we was talking about the quantum joint, if you observe it, it's like it doesn't work. It doesn't happen. So if you throw a no look, or you basically you bypass the conscious mind. You bypass it and go straight to the subconscious and hit it with something. And then let it go and don't worry about it. Don't put too much of the front conscious mind energy on it. Just let it go. You did it, boom. And let it go. They saying, look, after you do your thing, boom, 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 and you close out, do what you do, and then after that, you done. Move on. Don't second guess yourself or whatever you're trying to get into. Let it go. All right. The magician sees the universe as a, okay, yeah. This is how we're gonna bring it home with this part right here. The magician sees the universe as an infinite organism with mankind made in its image. Thus, everything in the universe includes the universe itself, makes up God. Because of this interaction and interpenetration of energies, the magician, by mystical means, can learn to extend his own being and influence the universe with his magical will. To do this, he must first reach his own center of being. You gotta reach that middle point. To do this, he must first reach his own center of being. the light within each person where humankind becomes God. To do this, he must first reach his own center of being, the light within each person where humankind becomes God. This is the true meaning behind the phrase, the great work. We just read some shit on that. Perfecting the great work may take a lifetime or many lifetimes to achieve. And I could go on. I got some old stuff to get into. Alright, let's keep it going, keep it going. We're gonna go back to Eva. I'm starting to dig this chick. I think I found this one on my own. I think I was looking through and I like the title, so I said shit, I'm gonna try it out, you know what I'm saying? And it's been surprising me. It's been a little gem. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the teachers might have already been up on this before me, but I truly think I stumbled across this one on my own. This was one of those, you know how you buy a book and then the other books pop up type shit, and you get to looking and looking and looking, scrolling through them. Pathwork was Self-Transformation by Eva Pierrakos. 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 Pier. Yeah, she got an eye and shit. Okay. Yeah, she got a lot to say. This is coming out of chapter 4, page 47. 47. Practically everything, because it was okay. This is from the real God and the God image. I kind of just jump in. I like to get to it. It's coming out of the false concept of God section, because I'm sharing my study, but look, you gotta raise your own light, so you might need to read, you know what I'm saying? You need to get, that's why, you could get the shit for your damn self. All right, here we go. Practically everything the child enjoys most is forbidden. Whatever gives most pleasure is prohibited, usually for the child's own welfare. This the child cannot understand. It happens that parents also do this out of their own ignorance and fear. Thus, it is impressed on the child's mind that for everything most pleasurable in the world, one is subject to punishment from God. That's a hard program to be put on. The highest and sternest authority. Thus, it is impressed on the child's mind that for everything most pleasurable in the world, one is subject to punishment from God, the highest and sternest authority. In addition, you are bound to encounter human injustice in the course of your life, in childhood as well as adulthood, particularly if these injustices are penetrated by people who stand for authority and are therefore unconsciously associated with God. Your unconscious belief in God's severe injustice is strengthened. Such experiences also intensify your fear of God. All this forms an image that makes, if properly analyzed, a monster out of God. This God living in your unconscious mind is really more of a Satan. Let's go. You yourself have to find out in your work on yourself how much of this holds true for you personally. If your soul impregnated Is your soul impregnated with similar wrong concepts? If and when the realization of such an impression becomes conscious within a growing human being, it is often not understood that this concept of God is false. Then the person turns away from God altogether and wants no part of the monster discovered hovering in his or her mind. This, by the way, is often the true reason for someone's atheism. The turning away is just as erroneous as the opposite extreme. See, jump from extreme to extreme, you just sliding up and down the pole. You just sliding up and down the pole. You know what I'm saying? Get that equilibrium, get that middle point, get the middle pillar. The turning away is just as erroneous as the opposite extreme, which consists of fearing a God who is severe, unjust, pious, self-righteous, and cruel. The person who unconsciously maintains the distorted God image rightly fears this deity and resorts to cajoling for favors. Here you have a good example of two opposite extremes, both of which lack truth to an equal extent. Now let us examine the case in which a child experiences benign authority to a greater degree than fear and frustration with a negative authority. Let us assume that overindulging and guiding parents fulfill the child's every whim. They do not instill a sense of responsibility in the child so that he or she can get away with practically anything. The God image resulting from such a condition is, at first, a superficial sight, closer to a true concept of God, forgiving, good, loving, indulgent. This causes the personality to unconsciously think he or she can get away with anything in the eyes of God, can cheat life, and avoid self-responsibility. To begin with, such a child will know much less fear. But since life cannot be cheated, this wrong attitude will produce conflicts, and therefore fear will be generated by a chain reaction of wrong thinking, feeling, and action. An inner confusion will arise since life, as it is in reality, does not correspond to the indulgent, unconscious God image and concept. Many subdivisions and combinations of these two main categories can exist in the same soul, and the development achieved in former incarnations in this particular respect also influences the psyche. It is very important, therefore, my friends, to find out what your God image is. Sorry, when I get to reading, you should start tickling my nose. This image is basic and determines all other attitudes, images, and patterns throughout your life. Do not be deceived by your conscious convictions. Rather, try to examine and analyze your emotional reactions to authority, to your parents, to your fears and expectations. Let's go. Dropping. Out of these, you will gradually discover what you feel about God rather than what you think. See? The whole scale between the two opposite poles of monster and doting parent is reflected in your God image. Hold on, let me do that over. I want you to get it clear. The whole scale between the two opposite poles of monster and doting parent is reflected in your God image. From hopelessness and despair to self-indulgent rejection of self-responsibility and the expectation of a God who pampers you. All right. Getting to our mathematics. All right, y'all. I got one more. We going back to this bad boy right there. Yup. Mind Control in the United States, Stephen Jacobson. Where did I? Oh, I got two of these markers. No, that's what I hit y'all with last time. Okay, this is a short piece. I'm gonna read the last. It's section 17, parapsychology, and this is like the commentary. It's only three joints. You know what I'm saying? It's only three pieces in there. I'm gonna read that last. I'm gonna read this last piece. This last commentary piece right here, over here. Like I said, you gotta get your own books. I can't read the whole goddamn book to you. Part of this shit is you finding something on your own. That's part of the magic, niggers. Find it yourself. The master teachers just left us fucking, I ain't even gonna say breadcrumbs. They left us motherfucking dinner. They left us dinner at the table. You just gotta come to dinner. Get your copies of the shit, and then you will see. Alright, this is Mind Control in the United States, page 80. This is the commentary. The essence of who and what we really are as spirit soul is eternal and not subject to death. But the physical body and material mind are. Bodily feelings and sensations disappear. The body decays and disintegrates. This dissolution is not really death, but the separation of an admixture of the soul, a unit of consciousness from matter, the body. One dies out of one realm and is born into another. One leaves the material world through death and is reborn into the realm of spirit. The basis and foundation of reality is that all is spirit and all is consciousness. Consciousness is the substance of all things. Consciousness is the substance of all things. Consciousness is the substance of all things. The world and everything and everyone in it is an appearance of consciousness. The term Holy Spirit means that spirit is holy because it is conscious and of the supreme consciousness and spirit that is God. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. 1 Corinthians 15:26. The truth is known and understood from within as an inner knowing and realization in consciousness. Man, this motherfucking book right here, be getting to it, and it don't play. Oh, there you go. Cover some shit today. Yeah, we covered some things today. Pretty content with the study today. Felt good to document these things, and if you could learn something that's cool, that's great. Good for you. But just gonna keep it rolling. Start thinking about where I'm gonna go to next, but I'm just gonna keep dropping it. Give you some breadcrumbs so you can go and DYOR, do your own research. And that's pretty much it. About to light this shit up. I'll catch y'all on the next one. 1